some of the final moments of Pastor Floyd's life. It shows the Tahoe truck he is in putting on brakes, Pastor Floyd getting out, walking toward the person shooting the video as they yell to back up.
I'm backing back 3 times now. When I do that, you know, please back the up. Back up. Back.
Then the video drops out. WREG sat down with the attorneys for Samantha Marion, charged with shooting Pastor Floyd to death. They say the video speaks for itself.
The video does not capture the gunfire that would have taken place probably maybe 3 or 4 seconds later, but it clearly shows him approaching her aggressively after being told several times to stop and that he should not be, walking up on her like that.
Keith Perry says his client, Samantha Marion, was behind the camera shooting the video, and it came after Marion and a man she had met that night got into a heated religion discussion with Pastor Floyd inside the bar. Perry says when everyone was leaving, Pastor Floyd walked toward Marion, and the man got between them.
He stands in front of Reverend Floyd. He's knocked to the ground by Reverend Floyd, and when he does, the back of his head hits the pavement, and he becomes a little stunned or dazed. Reverend Floyd then takes the telephone of Miss Marion, and he throws it to the ground, and he hurled a couple of insults or what have you, and then starts to walk off.
That's when he says Samantha Marion picks up her phone and starts videoing the license plate of the truck, since she had never met Floyd before. That's where the video picks up.
Whatever triggered him, he was upset with Mrs. Marion. He fought through 2 individuals to get to her, and watching him storm from the vehicle and approach her, it was clear that his intentions was definitely not to give her a hug and say, hey, let's work this out.
So now Samantha Marion is being railroaded by the prosecution, by the government of Memphis, Tennessee, for self-defense. So this situation happened recently here, about a week or so ago. And because there is a gun violence issue in Memphis, Tennessee, they are using this as a referendum in order to try to control gun violence in Memphis, Tennessee, but they have picked the wrong case to do this. Now, part of the reason why is because Ricky Floyd is an honored citizen in this town, an influential man in this town. The county commissioner came out and said that, well, Ricky Floyd recognized the good in him when he was a young man and helped him to better his life, and he became the county commissioner because of Ricky Floyd. So undoubtedly, this man has done some good in the community. I can not take that away from him. But as many Christians like to say, all who have been called should not be answering. Because according to the Bible, according to the Paulinian portions of the Bible, it talks about the fact that when you believe in Jesus, you become a new creature. That when you believe in Jesus, that your old ways change. And although you may not become perfect, there are certain aspects of you that should change. Now, to give you a little bit more about this entire situation, according to some of the other stories and according to some of the other witnesses, he left his house late in the evening because he heard from God that he was supposed to go to this bar and evangelize to the people there. Upon doing so in a place where it was a bar restaurant, the people didn't want to hear it. So unlike the Jesus character, when he went and cast out the demons, a legion of demons out of the man chained up against a rock, and the people wanted him to leave, didn't want to hear his words, Jesus just left. But no, this man couldn't leave. He had to get into a heated debate, as many Christians do. They like to come and argue and fight and become agitated when people don't agree with their worldview. And after doing so, as it was described by the lawyers there, the defense attorneys, he pushed the man down who was trying to de-escalate the situation, caused that man to hit the back of his head, possibly having a concussion, and snatched the phone from Miss Marion, threw it. And I believe they said on another newscast that also a beer can was thrown. And then he proceeds to get in his car. And like any other citizen today, she grabbed her phone to record his license plate so she can make a police report. It is clear that her intent was not to shoot this man, but her intent was to call the police and say that she and her friend had been assaulted by this man, that she had no idea who he was, but it shouldn't matter, even if she did know he was Pastor Ricky Floyd. But seeing her recording his license plate caused him to get out of his car, approach this woman again, and obviously snatch her phone and cast it aside. And then he got shot after being warned to not approach her. She just witnessed a grown man knock another grown man down to the ground and cause possible concussion. So out of the fear of her life, she shot him after warning him. Now, Christians often say that we should believe in this Bible and follow the Bible and not follow man. But it is the acts of man who are supposed to be the example of this book, living a life that makes other people look and say, wow, look at his life. Look at her life. I want my life to be like his. I want my life to be like hers. What is it about you that makes your life the way it is? Because I want some of that peace that you have, some of that patience that you have, some of that love that you have. That is what, when I was growing up, I was told a Christian is really about, and how you should demonstrate what this God has done for you in your life. But instead, he demonstrates exactly what the Bible talks about. He demonstrates Joshua and commanding the Israelites to go and genocide the people of Jericho and genocide the people of Ai. That when he was divvying up the land for the Canaanites who live within the lands that you live in, to genocide those people or to force them into slavery. And for the people who live far away from you to go and make them into your slaves who were not part of the Canaanite groups that you were genociding. He demonstrates exactly what the Bible says that people who believe in this should do. When Achan took some of the prizes of this God, he was stoned and then burned. Him and his entire family and all his cattle, stoned, burned, and then rocks were heaped on top of them. That's exactly what this Bible says that you should do to people who go against you, is that you should cast them to a side, cast them out. And this is exactly how this man acted. He acted in such a way of aggression that he caused his own demise. He had the opportunity to leave. He had the opportunity to leave when the argument became too stressful. He had the opportunity to leave after he knocked this man down and almost put him unconscious. He had the opportunity to leave when he was in his car. But instead, he came back for more, and constantly came back for more. And that coming back for more, because he just has to be right, you have to follow his belief, ended his life. He FAFO'd like a champ. And now the community is having an outcry, the love for this man. And I don't suggest that they don't love him and they don't memorialize him. But you don't ignore his bad deed. You don't ignore the fact that he brought on his own demise, that he was acting what you perceive or what they perceive to be this Jesus man of God, this man of the cloth. He was acting outside of that, when in truth, he was acting just like that. Just like early Christians in the first century, second, third, and fourth century, arguing amongst each other, fighting amongst each other until they were brought together under the orthodoxy. And then after they were brought together under the orthodoxy, they went out throughout the Roman Empire, massacring any other versions of Christianity that was not in agreement with them. Just like when the Protestant Reformation, just like when the Puritans and the Pilgrims and others came to America, just like the John Smiths and all others who have a different perspective of this religion, he acted the same way, with violence, with intimidation, and then want to stand back and expect piety. But what do you guys think? And always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself. because your greatness is non-negotiable. The journey